So today I am going to try to keep us all in line, although I think it'll be pretty easy because Chita Hunter is going to be our guest speaker. She's going to be talking about her mobile summer. So Chita, it is all yours.
All right, thank you. And I am going to share my screen and make sure that I share sound and optimize and there. And can you see my screen, everyone?
Yep.
Dan, okay, great. All right, so today, again, I want to thank you all for joining us. If you do have questions, put them in the chat. We ask that you please stay muted. My summer, which is still ongoing, was very monumental because you, like me and everyone else, we were in lockdown for so long. I wanted to make sure that I stayed busy and stayed mobile, and I wanted to capture the memories of whatever I was doing. But I did not want to do that by carrying around my DSLR camera and the heavy lenses. So I want to show you what I did use and some of the memories that I took. So with that, I have something to show you. See anything you like? All right. If you saw anything,
Ballooning.
if you saw anything you like, please say wow in the chat for me. This way I'm inspired to keep going. Thank you, Melissa. How have you been, Melissa? Good to see you. All right, so what I want to do is show you the equipment that I used. I used my iPhone Pro Max. I used my MacBook Air M1. I used my DJI Osmo 3 gimbal, and I'll get a little more into what that gimbal is, actually into everything. For power, because we can't have all of these devices and have them go dead on us. So for power, I bought what was called a power station. I ended up not using my iPad 9th gen at all. And I purchased a little charger adapter that I have to use to power up my power station or charge my power station, and that I can also use with other devices. It's one of these new things called a power delivery quick charger. It's what causes your iPhone to charge so fast, or that particular device. This right here is my favorite spot in the whole world. I spent a lot of time on the tennis court, and this is my chill station that I used. The extra gear that I had was my older Manfrotto monopod, which I stuck my gimbal on the bottom of. I had my old camera bag, and which was a lot lighter now without the DSLR and the heavy lenses. So I put my M1 in a sleeve in the back of my camera bag, put the rest of the devices in my camera bag, and away I went. So with food, drink, sunglasses, and a sunny or cloudy day, I was ready. And what isn't pictured there, oddly enough, is my tennis bag, which was always attached to my hip most of the time. So let's start with what I used most of all, no matter what I was taking. Thank you, China. Really appreciate it. Judith, Linda. So my DJI gimbal. This is an older model gimbal. And if you want to see what the newer models are, just do an online search for DJI gimbal and it'll show you the latest versions, which are the 4 and the 5. And the 5 actually has a telescoping wand, and it may be in my near future, maybe a birthday present, whatever in the future. But this particular device is really awesome. You attach your camera to it and it connects via Bluetooth from the app that you download at the App Store. Once you power it on and turn on the app, you can direct this gimbal to do all kinds of things. So for example, let me show you a couple of things. Here you have the power button. You have like a little joystick toggle. You can also take pictures. Here's a button. On the left-hand side here, you have where you can zoom your camera in and out. And some of these features work even if you don't have the DJI app turned on. So what happens when you give commands, the arm articulates, it'll go back and forth. You can turn the camera up and down, vertical, and you can take pictures that you probably couldn't normally take depending on what position you're in. So the app talks to the gimbal, and the app is really full feature rich. And I'll get into that as I go forward. The item that I used to power my devices was the Handiff power station. Now, if you've ever bought these little batteries to use to help power up your devices, I think what was really common was the one that looked like a little lipstick case. And you know that those devices usually left you wanting. They usually burned out long before they powered up your devices. So I knew I had my M1, I had my iPhone, I had my gimbal, and I've used some of these devices and have just been left with a dead iPhone because, could someone please turn their mic off? I was left with a dead iPhone because I ran out of power. So I wanted something that I knew would power all of my devices. This particular Handiff power station has 20,000 milliamps of power. It actually can power my M1 from complete depletion all the way up to 100%. But I didn't need it for that because my M1 and my iPhone, the batteries on those devices are really, really good. I only needed it, let's say my devices got really low and I wanted to bring it up to a point where I felt secure that I could continue doing what I was doing and not have to worry about running out of power altogether. So this device is awesome. It has, excuse me, an AC adapter at the top. It has a USB-C port and it has a USB-A port. The power adapter, little charger that I bought here, this little TechNet, it is a 3.0 power delivery fast charger. And this is very similar to what your iPhone comes with now. It allows devices to be charged really fast. The power station does not come with its own charger. They give you the cable. So you do have to purchase one of these in order to charge the power station. But you can use this for any and all of your devices. This power station also, which really impressed me and was the reason that I purchased it, it has a fan at the bottom of the device. And as we go into being more electric and battery powered, yes, as we go into electric and being more battery powered, my more powerful electric device, battery powered devices have fans in them. And this was the only device that I saw that had a little fan. So I've never had a problem with this thing. It has powered all of the devices. I put it in a little pouch if I needed to power up my iPhone while I'm using it, taking videos, and it fast charges. It's just awesome, a little awesome device. So I've never run out of power while I was out and about. So Whoops, sorry. Okay. Highlight. Oh, I'll get to that. And I'm using Mouse Bouze. Gimbal Envy, Cynthia. Okay, get one. They're really cool. You won't realize how you live without it. So these are the apps that I used on my journey, and hopefully you enjoyed my little 30-second video of some of the things that I did. The apps that I used were the native camera app, the Photos app, an app titled Movie Pro, my DJI app, Lightroom Mobile, Slow Shutter, and some of the things that you will see today, I could not have done without the screen record app that's on the iPhone. And so with that, I'll go forward. And I'm going to go through 2 slides and then go live on my iPhone. And also I want to say, this is not a photography class. This is me taking photos, eventually doing something with them. And also that some of the features in the apps, I'm showing you the features that I used. I'm not showing you like every feature that's in the app. Some of the apps, all of the apps are feature rich. I want to show you what I used and why I used it. So on the camera app, which takes great photos, I use the live photo feature, and I'll show you why. And this feature at this particular instance, when I used it, became my best friend, and I'll show you why. And in conjunction with the camera app, I use the Photos app, and I'll show you what I used here. So now I'm going to escape out of this, hide it, and turn on QuickTime. And I need to escape out of that. Turn this off. Do a new movie capture because I want to show you my iPhone. And let's bring you over here. There you go. All right, so we're going to start off with the camera app. And let's put this in full screen. All right, start off with the camera app. The camera app, if you look up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, that is the live photo button. So that's what it looks like turned off. And this is it turned on. So those of you who aren't familiar with what the live photo does, I would say that it's always in record mode, but it isn't recording until you press the shutter. When you press the shutter when you press the shutter, what live photo does, it takes a recording of 1.5 seconds before you press the shutter and 1.5 seconds after you press the shutter. So it's like it's always in record mode. So Apple calls it a video still. And when this feature first came out, I sort of didn't understand why it was needed, what it was for. And then after a while, yes, screen recording is wonderful. And then after a while, it became really important on how you use this and why. So that's the live photo button, 1.5 seconds before, 1.5 seconds after. So let's show you why that's so important. Let's go to the Photos app. And let's get out of this. I'll show you that one later. And I'm going to press this. So here is a live photo. And I just happened to stumble upon a very big event in the Detroit area this particular day. I knew it was coming. I didn't pay any attention to when because I didn't go to it, because on those particular days, it's like a parking lot in that particular area, and it's best to stay away from it. So went to the store, and I'm driving away, and I see all of these tents on the side of the road, and I see all of these cars go by, and it's like, oh, this is the Dream Cruise. So if any of you who are not familiar with what the Dream Cruise is, living in the Detroit area, people are crazy about cars. you think? Motor City, Motown, cars, and this particular weekend is used to just cruise up and down Woodward and show you the vintage cars, special cars, souped up cars. And let me show you. I have about several hundred pictures of cars. I thought I'd park for half an hour, take a couple pictures. My husband is a car enthusiast, to show the pictures to him. I ended up staying there for 2 hours. It was 90 degrees in the shade, very hot. So I sat in my Mini Cooper taking pictures. It wasn't the best vantage point, but the fact that I got a parking space on this street, this particular time of day, was like, you need to take pictures. So I had my camera, had my gimbal, had my monopod. Okay, let's go. So I took all of these pictures. Let's go back to albums, go back to here. And actually, let me go back here because I want to show you what prompted me to go to live photo. I'm sitting, taking a picture, and I get that. Well, everything's in motion. And I'm thinking, okay, this isn't going to work. This is a raw photo. I can't time this. How am I going to get this picture? Because I was getting the tail end or the front end of every car. So then I remembered live photo. So let's go back to here. If you look up in the upper left corner, you will see that this is a live photo. It indicates whether it's raw, live, or what particular type image it is. If I long press this, it shows you what a live photo is. It is a 3-second video of motion. And this is the frame that shows. Now, what prompted me to take a picture, or what prompted me to show this one to you, is because I noticed after I pressed the shutter, there was something going on about this particular vehicle. So, no, you don't have to refuel. You can just you don't have to refuel. I'll show you. So after I took this picture, I'm thinking something's going on about this particular vehicle. So I'm going to press edit. Edit's going to take me into another edit interface. In the lower left corner, there is the live button. I'm going to click on that. And it shows you that 3-second motion video still of this live photo. The dot over the sliding bar at the bottom indicates that this is the frame. If I drag the rectangle left and right, it goes through the frame. Now, when I get to this point, if you can see the back of this Volkswagen, there's a little wing nut wind up device back there, which was what I saw, but couldn't tell as the Volkswagen was driving by so fast. So as I go, you can still see it, but you see it best when it's right here. So I'm going to let go right there. And the app asks, do you want to make this the new keyframe or key photo? So I'm going to, yes, I'm going to do that. So you'll see 2 dots above the frame. The dimmed dot is the original keyframe. This is the new keyframe. And it's set. Now, if I press done, this becomes the new keyframe for this live photo. So now that you see it, thank you, Peter. So now that you see it, when you look at it in the photos, this is what you see. You see that little wind up. So again, this is a live photo. It's still live. It still does what it normally does. And before I show you the next thing, look up at the upper left-hand corner where it says live. Excuse me, a little congested here. There's a menu there. If I press the menu, I have several options for this live photo. I can loop it. And this is for your own personal entertainment. All right, you can loop it. I can also bounce it. When I bounce it, it'll go back and forth. And a long exposure, which is the next option, it just makes it a long exposure, which basically blurs whatever is in motion. So those are the options you have. And again, it's for your own personal entertainment. Thank you, Ken. Now, let's say I want to, let's go back here. And let's go back to edit. So I didn't save. Let's go back. Let's get that. All right, get right there. So make that key. And I want to press done. That becomes the new frame. Now, what if I want to send this image to someone as a still image instead of a live photo? And I'm not sure if you can actually send this as a live photo to someone. If you try to send a live photo image to someone and they aren't on an iPhone, you have to, it will be converted to just a still image. But you can also convert it to a still image yourself. If I press the share button in the lower left corner, can you mute your microphone, please, John Pauling? Mute your microphone. Thank you. If I press the share button, you don't want to select copy photo. You want to select duplicate. And you are then given the option to duplicate it as a live photo or duplicate it as a still image. So once I select duplicate as a still image, if I go back, it is now duplicated, and yeah, I believe it's this one. It's now duplicated as a still image. So let's go back, and I want to show you another option. Let's go back into there. If I press the share button again, I can also save it as a video. So this live motion, live photo, I can now save out as a video. I've already done that, so let me show that to you. Go back here, and it's this one. So now it's a video, not as entertaining in some cases as what you can do with a live photo, but now I can use it as a video in other applications or just save it out as a video to look at or view or whatever. So you have options with a live photo that you don't have with some of the other photos, least of all being able to capture something that you may not have been able to capture were you just using the camera setting. So hopefully, do you lose resolution? I have not noticed that I lost any resolution, Cynthia, with doing that. Okay, Kimmy, great. Glad you're learning so much. So that is what I used the camera app and live photo for. All right. I can, Greg, I can do that. Okay, and so let's move on. Now the next app, let's do this. All right, and let's put you in full screen. Let's get you out of full screen, and let's put you into play. All right, and now full screen. So the next app that I used was, yes, Jean, all of the live photos will actually be listed as live in the upper left corner of your gallery, right? Now, the next app that I used was Movie Pro. I've had this app for a long time, and this app was utterly amazing. And when I first purchased the app, I believe I had a iPhoto 6 or definitely an iPhoto 7. And iPhone 7, sorry. I had an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 7. And the battery life in those cameras was not as great as what I've experienced with a 12. And as I would take video, either the camera, the battery would die really fast because of use. It would get hot. Didn't have good enough battery chargers with me. That was not the case now. The iPhone 12, the battery life on this phone is just amazing. I took a whole day of videos, and I did have to use my power station to recharge, but everything worked out perfectly. I purchased this app years ago because it had two features that no other app had at the time. The first feature was that I could pause the recording without having to stop the recording. The second feature was that I could use my earbuds as a mic. And those two features no other app had at the time. This app is a absolutely amazing app. I'll show you some of the features in a second. But with Movie Pro, if you look at the second image here, you'll see that these are all of the lenses that are available when you select lenses in this app. Wide angle, ultra wide, telephoto, triple, dual wide. I don't see any other app that allows you to do that. It's a great app. And again, being able to pause the video as I'm recording and then come back and turn it back on, I'll show you that. And also, there's another feature that I haven't seen in any other app. I can record both cameras at the same time. So I can record the front and the back camera at the same time. So let's go to that app. And let's go to QuickTime. And let's go here. Now, it looks like I have two Movie Pro apps at the top here, and I actually do. One is a paid version, which is the one I've used forever, and the other is the free version, which came out recently. I'll show you why and what I use both of them for. So with the Movie Pro app, let's go in, and so I'm just going to do a quick change of lenses. I'm going to tap the lens in the on the upper screen, and hold on. This is what I want. Here are the different settings, and I can actually select multi-camera, and I can show you me and what's being recorded in the back, and you can record both at the same time. I'll show you that in a second, and let's turn that back off. Come on. And I can also show you the different settings. So with this particular app, here are some of the camera settings that you can take video with. Far more than you would imagine, and far more than you can take with the native camera. And I'm not knocking anything, I'm just showing you the different features. As you know, some apps are better than others. So video mode, video, time lapse, the multi-camera I showed you, resolution. These are the different resolutions you can take with this app. I think when I purchased this app years ago, it was $5.99, and that was considered outrageously expensive for an app. And I think it's $9.99 now. Well worth every penny for what you get with it. So you see all of the features that you have here with this particular camera app. So I'm just going to press done because I want to show you here. So here are some of the videos that I took, and ones in particular that I want to show is this one. This one shows how I paused during the recording and then started recording again. And the next one, that's 9.6, this one. That's me recording while I'm in the balloon basket, showing the recording and me waving at you. Hello. So these are the features that gravitated me to this app, and some of the features that gravitated me to this app in the first place. The name of this app is Movie Pro. And I just want to quickly show you. Here's the ultra wide telephoto. If I select triple. So the app is just great for taking videos with. Right. Movie Pro, $7.99 for Peter. I believe it's $9.99. Glad you love it. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. All right, so now I want to show you the free version of this app. If I click here, this free version, I'm going to dismiss this. Should have dismissed it first. It doesn't have as many settings as the other app. as the paid version. Of course, that's always the case. But what it does have, which the paid version does not have, is that it has a teleprompter feature. I expect to see a whole bunch of wows in the chat for that. So you can type it in, you can import a file, whether it be a PDF or a text file. And thank you, John Russell. Yes, it's free and it has a teleprompter. So if I press on the sample script that I created, I can read it over. I can add more type if I want to, ... And let's dismiss that. I didn't mean to type in that, but that's okay. Now, when I want to start recording and seeing the teleprompter, I press the camera in the upper right corner and I can let's scroll and let's start. I'm going to press the record button. And as it starts, it's going to start to scroll. So I can record, read the teleprompter, and make it seem seamless. And let's stop that. I can actually, no, I don't want to dismiss you, but you can also set the speed of the teleprompter. You can set the text size so that you can see it. Great for a free app. So if you're in the market, can you choose one frame to make a single image out of what, Alan? All right, so that is.
If I have a full sequence and I want to pick one specific image from that video, can I pick one image and make it a still?
You can do that using, I don't know if you can do it using this particular program, but you can do that using any other program. You can do that using QuickTime if you want. Okay, thank you, Alan. Okay, now that is Movie Pro. So I expected to see more wows from this. The Movie Pro is an amazing app. So hopefully you've seen some features that you can use. So let's get out of that and let's go and see. Thank you, Greg. So let's go back here. So again, the reason I purchased this app was because of being able to pause. And that just blossomed into other features. Thank you, Charles. Now, did I show you everything for that? I believe so. So now let's take a look at the app that I probably spent the most time in. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, China. Okay. The app that I probably spent the most time in is this one, the DJI app that is connected to the gimbal. So let me show you a couple of things that I did first from this slide. Here, this is a slow motion that I took. Here on the right is a time lapse. Now you have to be aware with time lapse, because it basically speeds up the video, you have to take a long enough video. So for something that lasts maybe 5 or 10 seconds, you just bought your DJI 5. Okay, great. That's good to know. So for something like a time lapse, for maybe 10 seconds of video, you actually have to take maybe a 30 or 1 minute video, and it compresses it and puts it all together in a fast time lapse. So initially when I started with the time lapse, I was only doing like 5 or 10 seconds of video, and my time lapse was like just like that. You couldn't even see anything. So know that you have to take a longer span of video when you do a time lapse. Also, with this gimbal, which I thought was just absolutely amazing, is its ability to track subjects. So I'm going to click on this video here. So see how smooth that is? Of course, that's not me turning that It would not be that smooth if it were. It would be jerky, bobbling up and down or something. With the DJI gimbal, you can actually tell it to track something, and it will turn the phone, the camera, as the object is going by. You just watch in amazement at what it's doing. It will track itself. So let me show you. Let me show you, before I show you the next one, I want to show you the interface of the DJI. I'm just going to show you the app because I don't have my iPhone connected to the gimbal. I would not be able to do what I'm doing right now if it were. So I'm just showing you the app, some of the things that are available. There are just an overabundance of tutorials in this app to help you create some of the things that you want to create. It even allows you to create what's called a story. And you start the template. I don't like the music in some of the stories, but that's neither here nor there. You can take it out after you create the video. But you start the story. It basically walks you through taking a video, how many seconds, or you can create your own template. So it tells you how many seconds the video is going to be. You press the shutter, it'll take that. Then it'll direct you to the next thing. You go over to the next, press your shutter, take the video. It walks you through. And then after you're done taking the videos, it stitches all of this together. You can add text at the end or at the beginning. You can basically create your own little story is what they call it. It is amazing. Oh, dear, stories now. Okay. Yes, you can create your own little story. It's cool, Melissa. You gotta try it. So, and the gimbals are really inexpensive now. I believe they're $129 for the 5. I believe probably that's what you paid for it, Frank, on Amazon. So they're really inexpensive to purchase. So that's the app. Let me go back and show you something else that I created. And this was with tracking. So with, I play a lot of tennis, if I hadn't mentioned that before. So the top of this video is showing you the DJI app interface. And the bottom is showing you the screen recording app. So I wanted to, it created 2 movies at once when I did this. So the top is actually created by the screen recording app. The bottom is what was recorded by the DJI. So I want you to see how I was able to tell it what to track. It will most of the time do a great job. If it can't find what you're trying to track, it'll turn red, and you'll see that happen here. And if the subject is moving too fast, it will just lose it. So, but it's really easy to pick back up. And let me show you here. So I first tried to follow his body, but it selected its head. You can press the little X to get out of this tracking and create another one. So then I told it to track his feet. Now the camera is moving itself on the gimbal. I'm not moving the camera at all, and it's going to track him. So all I did was just point, tell it to track, and it's doing all of this movement on its own. So it's really cool because you don't have to worry about the shake. I put the gimbal at the top of the monopod so that I could just hold the camera still as it was doing what it was doing. So really great, double wow. Glad you enjoyed that, Frank. I want to see your videos when you get yours. Now, I used it a lot for that. The next thing that I used the DJI app for was this. I created a panel of a little beach area. Now, typically when you take a panel, you have to move the camera yourself and go up and down. This program, this app will do this for you. So I use screen recording to record what it's doing. So here we go. It's taking all of the shots that it's going to use to stitch the panel together, creating the panel, and then it gives me the image. It saves all of the recordings and images to the camera roll. So from there, I took this image and brought it into Lightroom Mobile. So that's where I'm going to take you now. And make sure. Yep. So I want to show you what I did to the image, and I want to show you the editing of another image that I worked on. So let's get out of that, and let's get out of here. And so from here, let's go back to photos. Let's go back to albums. So here's the image, and I'm going to turn my camera so that you can see this. Turn my phone camera. So here's the image that I took, and you see all of the extras on the side and in the background. You see the trash can, things that you don't want in your image. So now I'm going to turn my phone back, and let's get out of there. And I'm going to go into Lightroom. And into Lightroom, and let's go all the way up to the top. And here's the image that I created in Lightroom. I'm going to do a long press and show you. That's how, Kimmy. I'm going to do a long press and show you. This is what the image looked like when I brought it into Lightroom. This is what the image looks like after I edited it in Lightroom. Now, there was one thing that I was going to show you in Lightroom that I'm not sure I can show you. I do beta testing, and so I have features on my app that you can't see. And the interface on this feature that I was going to show you changed last week, and I'm not sure that I can show it to you. So I'm going to show you a couple of other things, but just know that using this app, you can take all of that extraneous information out and have your image look like this. So now let's turn my camera back, and let's go back out of here. I want to go back into photos and go back to favorites. I'm going to take this image here and bring it into Lightroom. Thank you, Greg. I'm going to take this image and bring it into Lightroom. So I click on the share button, and it automatically asks, hey, Lightroom, right there. So I can select got it and continue to be in the Photos app, or I can tell it to launch Lightroom right now and take me to it. So I'm in Lightroom, and that image is right here. There you go. It copied it into it using the metadata of date. So that's why it wasn't at the top. So I'm going to do a couple of things here in Lightroom to show you how easy it is. And I'm on an iPhone. I want you to remember that. So the first thing I'm going to do is crop. So down at the bottom are all the modules that I use to edit this image. So I'm going to crop it. And I'm going to crop out a little bit of the sky and a little bit of the ground. Something on the side here. Now I'm using the fattest pencil in the world, my thumbs. So I may fumble a little bit, but thank you, Ken. I may fumble a little bit, but I'm going to do my best here with my, my little fat fingers. So I'm going to crop it. And once I crop it, I can click on a check mark down at the bottom. So it's cropping. The next thing I want to do, I want to click on the light module down at the bottom. And it gives me different settings: exposure, contrast, highlights. You know, again, this is in a photography class, and everyone has the license to do what they do. But the first thing that I do to an image most of the time, 99% of the time, is I go to the shadows slider and I bring out the shadows of an image. So what was this is now this. You can see more detail. So I'm going to take that up to about 67 to bring in more interest, more detail. And I'm going to go right there. All right. The next thing I do, I can try to, work with some of these other sliders to see if they do anything that I like or don't like. Let's say I move the contrast slider. If I don't like what it's doing, I just double tap on it and it takes it back to 0. So I'm not going to move any of the others. I'm not going to mess with exposure or any of the other settings. I'm going to just leave it right there. Remember, artistic license. The next slider that I want to select is the color. I'm just checking to make sure it is color. All right, the next slider is color. And I'm going to increase the vibrance a little bit. And these numbers aren't set in stone. These are just numbers that I'm playing with. And I'm also going to increase the saturation. Now, there are yellow tones that are coming out in the sky. I actually want to increase just those yellow tones that I see. So I'm going to select from the bottom. I'm going to click on masking, but I want you to note the little dots that are down at the bottom of the screen, that they tell you that something has been changed in this area, because this is non-destructive to this image. I can always come back and take all of these edits off of the image. So now I want to accentuate that yellow. I'm going to click on masking and I'm going to click the plus button. From here, I'm going to select color range. It's going to give me a target adjustment. So I'm going to take that target adjustment and place it over the area where I see the most yellow. And I see a little bit more vibrance than you do. But I'm going to step that down because I want it just to focus on certain areas. I'm going to choose apply. It creates a mask. So what I do now is only going to happen to those areas that you see highlighted in red. I'm going to click on color and I'm going to up the saturation because I really want to make that intense. And again, mine's more saturated than what you see on the screen. So I'm going to have to really step that up. All right. So that's with that mask. And I want to add a little bit more blue to the water. I'm just going to tap on that mask icon that's sort of in the center. Press plus. I'm going to select color range again and come down here. Bring that down. So I just want that water area. I choose apply, choose color, and I'm going to increase the saturation so that it's a little more akin to the saturation in the sky. All right, press check. And there's one other effect. I believe it was here under optics. I'm going to click on the optics button. And if I need a lens correction or feel that I need a lens correction or just want to see if there's a lens correction available, I'm going to select enable. And you're seeing it apply a lens correction. I'm going to turn that off and back on. So it'll fix whatever it felt distortion the lens created in the image. And at that point, I'm going to tap edit and bring that back and show you this is what it was and this is what it is now. All right. So hopefully you can see the power in Lightroom mobile. Yes, this is a mobile app. I'm doing all of this with my fat thumbs. All right. So let's go back to Lightroom is awesome. There are more features. Of course, there are more features than that. but this is where I want to go back to. Thank you, Jean. So that was exposure, changing exposure and having target edits in Lightroom. So what I couldn't show you was the heel brush. Like I said, I believe because my NDA forces that I can't show you the changes of the interface right now. So now let's move on. And thank you, Jill. The next app that I want to show you is Slow Shutter. This app is so cool, so cool. So let me get out of here. This app allows you to create long exposure images, much easier than you could create them. I'm not a photographer. I don't say that I am. I take pictures and I hope they come out well. And those of you who are professional photographers, oh my God, my hat's off to you, because this is work. That can be a lot of work, and carrying around that equipment is a lot of work as well. But this app allowed me to create what I call impressionistic images just by pressing a shutter. On the left, this image of the grass, those are actually my neighbor's weeds from a defunct garden. And I took that image and created what's like a impressionistic image that I would not be, embarrassed to show anyone because it's artistic license. And on the right-hand side, you see what an image that we all try to create, which is a beautiful flow from some type of waterfall. So let me show you how this app works. And let's go back here. And this app is here, and it's Slow Shutter. I'm going to show you the interface. I'm going to click on the gear icon in the lower left corner and show you that these are the separate modes that you have. Motion, for what I'm going to show you now. You can create light trails, like when you see the lights from the cars at night trailing off. And you can also create low light exposures. So let's go back here. And actually I have to get out of here so that I can show you. I don't think that's a video. Let's back up off of that. And okay, and hide you. And I have two of the videos to show you. Let's open those up. And let's go into full screen. And the settings is the first one I want to show you. So I'm going to play this and you can watch and see what happens. So here, I'm going to select motion blur. Blur strength is going to be very high, shutter speed. And as you press the shutter, you see that in the upper left corner, it shows you a real-time view, but it shows you the image that it has taken with this Slow Shutter app. Okay, and you have to clear the capture after you take the image. So let me run that again just to show you, and then I'll show you the other video companion that you edit, show you how it's edited. So it takes the image, you can clear, edit, or save. I saved this image, so I press the save button. It saves the image to the camera roll, and now you can continue on. But you have to clear the capture. It will not allow you to continue unless you clear the capture. Now let's show you the settings. And I'm basically going to do the same thing, but show you how you can edit your capture. And hold on, let's move this out of the way. All right, so here, I'm going to do the same thing, but show you, if I click the edit button, it gives you a slider where you can decide at what point you want this picture. And then you can save. And then, of course, you have to clear the capture. But it allows you an easier way. Peter just bought Slow Shutter. It allows you an easier way to create slow shutter images than you probably would normally. So I love this app. I spent a lot of time playing around with it. I was up at 3 in the morning taking images of the night sky because the planets are like perfectly aligned so that I could see them, and just seeing what type of image I could create with these. All right, we're doing good. Okay, now let's go back to here, and let's go back to play. And let's go back to full screen. All right, so that's slow shutter. And again, it allows you a lot of artistic license. So all of this could not have been possible without screen record. And let's see your nice guy, pleasure. Jane, they it was hit or miss. Some were okay. And I actually have some time. Maybe I can pull one up and show it to you. Some were okay, but you wouldn't have thought that they were taken at 3 in the morning. So I'll see if I can pull one up quickly here. And let's go to library. So again, all of these were created with, a lot of these videos were created using Screen Record, the native app on your iPhone. And give me 1 second to see if I can make Jane happy here and see if I can pull one of these up. And okay, here's one. Excuse me. All right, so let's go back to here. And I need to turn these off because this is real time. And QuickTime. Oh, sorry. Okay, QuickTime. There it is. Do you see this? This is used for the original presentation with animation. Give me 1 second. So this is an image that I took with slow shutter using the low light capture. That big spot in the middle is the moon. It was a half crescent, a slither of a crescent. I couldn't quite get it, but we're looking at parts of the Big Dipper, and one of the, I was trying to take pictures, Saturn and Jupiter were in the night sky, and some of those didn't come out right. But this is 3 in the morning. So I think for 3 in the morning, I got a pretty good capture. So okay. Well, thank you, Jane. Once you edit them in there, how did you bring them back to your photos library? Janice asked, once you edit them in the apps, how do you bring them back to your photos library? Most of the apps that I took pictures with allow you to import or export back to the cameras, the Photos app. So I just brought them back in. I didn't have to take them. I actually didn't take any of them off my phone and edit them and then bring them back. Everything was done in the mobile apps that I showed you. Sorry, but the other apps, Slow Shutter, Cam, both look the same in the App Store. If you read about them, it's probably Slow Shutter Cam, Charles, but read about them and take a look. And I believe it's whatever, it's $2.99. 3 a.m. good capture. Yes, Melissa, I would wake up. I wanted this. The planets were so prevalent. I wanted to take a picture of them at 3 a.m. So I would get up at 3. What did you use for the original presentation with animation? I used ScreenFlow app to put all of that together into that original animation. And ScreenFlow is an amazing app, and it allows me to do a lot of things that are easy. I want to say easy to do. It does have a learning curve, but it's easy to handle. Okay, 3 apps. There are 3 apps named Slow Shutter. All right, let's see if is there any. So mine just says Slow Shutter right here. So and they could have added more Does the icon look like my slow shutter icon here? So this is what to look for. You're welcome. Thank you, Karen. I greatly appreciate it. So now all right, shameless plug. I got to do a shameless plug. So again, I use screen record to show you practically everything that I did here. I have a Lightroom course that I'm going to make available. It's a 1-hour course, $15. I use the Lightroom mobile app premium to create this course. And in this course, I show you how to import images, crop, adding vignettes, creating different versions of the images that you create, adding watermarks, albums. I show you practically a very comprehensive, in-depth overview of how to use Lightroom Mobile. When I edit my images on my phone, I use Lightroom Mobile. I use no other app because the app has just intricate features that you don't have in any of the other apps. There's a free version. You don't have to have the premium version to use the Lightroom mobile app. It is free. There are some features, of course, that aren't available in the free version, but most of the things that I just showed you are available in the free version. If you want to take advantage of this class, just send me an email. My email address is hunterdesigns@me.com and put LR class in the subject, and I'll contact you and get that process started. But this is the app that I use to edit everything. You can get some amazing captures and edits with this program. Thank you, Marcia. Hold on, I got 6 new messages. Thank you, China. Screen, what do I mean screen record native app? Let me go back to QuickTime. All right. If you pull down here, see this button right here? Hold on, let me get out of that. Directly above the magnification tool is the screen record button. When you press the screen record button, excuse me, it records everything that's happening on the screen of your iPhone. Everything. So be careful. It records everything. Okay. Not so much of a feature. All right. So, okay. So I am, any more questions? Any more questions? This is Q&A time. Feature control center. Not so much an app. I'm sure someone will call it an app, Peter. How do you group all of your albums together? Oh, I make a folder, Ken. I can show that at a different time. If you actually, let's say, for example, I hover on this one, and I don't have another one there, but if you take 2 apps and place one on top of the other, it creates a folder for you. And then you name the folder. That's how that's done. Thank you, William. Does the free, I believe it does. The question is, does the free version of the Movie Pro have a pause feature? Let's find out. I hit record. It's going to start recording in this, and no, it does not. It does not have a pause feature. So, all right. They have to have some distinguishing capabilities between the free. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, you're welcome, Ken. John, the question is, how much of any which could you have done on an iPhone 7 Plus? I loved my iPhone 7 Plus. I really did. I probably would not have been able to record as long as I did. It probably would have gotten hot. The battery would have died quicker. On my particular gimbal, and probably on the other gimbals, it had where you could actually attach a cable and power the iPhone while you're using the gimbal. I found that burned out both of them. But this was with my old camera. The battery life on the 12 has just been amazing. So I've never had to do that. So can the paid version? No, the paid version of Movie Pro does not have the teleprompter feature. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Anne. Lightroom, touching smiles. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Don. Okay, it is 12:40. I want to end the presentation, my presentation now, because we do have a big thing from Apple starting at 1. We just have 5 minutes. So again, if you're interested in my Lightroom class, just send me an email, hunterdesigns@me.com, put Lightroom class in the subject matter, and I will get back to you. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you enjoy what I've shown you. Let's see the chat. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Hank. Thank you, everyone. Okay. I'm going to stop my share and hand it back to Dan.
Wonderful.
Dan, we can't hear you.
Now you can, right?
Now we can.
All right. Thank you, Chita. You set the bar high for our first meeting. So thank you very much.
Good.
Everyone, we want to thank Chita. So if you can applause, thumbs up, all that good stuff.
If you
And
want
Chita,
to,
could you repeat that email address if anyone's interested?
Thank you.
In that Lightroom
Awesome
class
job.
when we get done here?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. hunterdesigns@me.com.
And what do you put in the subject?
LR class.
All right. So if anyone's interested in that, Lightroom is an awesome app, and I'm sure Chita will show you how you can do all that wonderful stuff. So, all right. Next week, we are having Tara September. George found an article in one of the local newspapers about Tara, and she's an author. And what she is going to do is discuss her publishing path and why she switched to a Mac for her writing journey. So today we kind of focused on photography a little bit more and how to capture your life. The next week is going to be more for the writer. If someone likes to write, maybe you can learn a few things on create your own book.
Yeah,
and it's pretty easy to publish them. So join us next week. Looks like we have to mute.
Okay, your microphones are on. We can hear you. We can hear you. Your microphones are on.
Yeah.
All right.
So join us next week for Tara September, and we want to thank you for your support, and we'll see you next week.